Hello everyone, I'm just back to share my two Scholars Ledger journals, and these are the two journals that I made using Nick the Booksmith's Scholars Ledger course, and I can highly recommend this course. It's a brilliant course and I learnt so much from it, so thank you very much, Nick. Really enjoyed doing it. I will leave the link down below for Nick's courses so that you can go and check them out if you want to. So I made two books. This one is going to be for sale on my Etsy shop, and that will also come with a little ephemera pack, which I'll show you in a minute. And then the other book that I made, this is actually the book that you get taught in the course, this size book, which is, I made it 8.5 in length, and I think, yeah, it's about 5 inches the other way, and it has a 1.5 inch spine. This is a book I've made for myself because I don't really make books for myself very often. So this is just full of lots of random stuff that I've collected over the years and that I really wanted to use, so it doesn't actually have much of a theme. But I'll show you this book first. So this is, just measure it. This one is 6. This is 6 by 5, and this has a 2 inch spine. So it has a lovely textured piece on the spine and has 5 signatures, and this is a nature themed book. It has cheesecloth and a little piece of lace headband at the top and the bottom. I left lots of threads hanging on this one, which of course can be trimmed off if you don't like them. On the front I used Tim Holtz memoranda paper, which I actually inked that up quite a lot, so it's a lot darker, and the same on the back. On the front I've just used a little piece of embroidery cloth, and we have a book plate with the word noted. So it has a sari silk closure. So we'll have a look inside. On the inside again I've used Tim Holtz memoranda paper, made a little pocket here, and it's a piece of vintage ephemera, it's a little ticket, and this is a card from Nick's, one of Nick's digital kits. I had to put a little piece of lace down there. The inside of the spine is reinforced with seeded calico fabric. So the first signature, so I've used some book paper here from a vintage botanical book. Just put a little, some tea dyed tickets, and that's a piece of Tim Holtz ephemera. And that's a page from a bird book. Got a tea dyed dictionary page, lots of tea dyed paper. This one came out really chunky, as you can see. Lots of space, it lays lovely and flat, so nice and easy to write in, and lots of space for writing in. I've put a lot of vintage book pages in this one. I've done some sewing as well. I've just used lots of little strips. I actually went through all my strips of paper that I had, and I've used a lot of them and just sewn them on. So that is actually a little tiny tuck there, if you did want to tuck something in. This is from an Irish songbook. These are some lovely colour plates from a book called The Shell Country Book. And I've also used some digitals from Mrs. Cog's Crafts. This is the, I think it's the Country Life digital kit, which I've printed onto some textured card. I love these botanical images. I think they're so pretty. So it's a second signature. So we've got a little pocket here. This is a tag. I've also used a little bit of a kit, an entomology kit from Mike Deacon. And that's Tim Holtz. This is printed on vellum. And that's also a small tuck. That's a vintage book page from a flower book. Some vintage ledger. This is an envelope that I've tea dyed, and some tickets for the Royal Albert Hall were actually delivered in this envelope. So you can actually just see Albert Hall at the top there. It's obviously got the Royal Mail stamp. Just sewn on another little scrap of paper there. And this lifts up so you can put something in there. These are the little pockets that I made in the previous video, which are little flip up pockets. I'll link the video below if you'd like to have a look at how to make them. And this is just using some more of this botanical paper, which these are just 3x3 cards. I've stitched around them, backed them onto tea dyed paper and put a piece of lace at the top. It's the other side of the envelope, so that has a window in it. It's from the flower book. Nice big flip out. Another card from Mrs. Cog's. So this is the third signature. This is a letter. These I've printed from the New York Public Library, and I printed these out onto some antique printer paper that I had, and because I've got an inkjet printer I can't then tea dye them because it all goes blends and goes funny. But I did just spray these with some plain water and bake them in the oven, so I was quite pleased with how that came out. It did sort of blend in a little bit, but quite like that look. It's another page from that Shell Country book. This is from Artie Mays. Just put some seam binding up there. That's a little pocket. These are some vellum window envelopes that I made. That's in another tutorial, so there isn't anything in there. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll link that one below as well. Just did a little collage here with just some scrapbook paper, and I think this is from a dictionary. I've just machine stitched that. A couple of more tags. It's the next signature. Another journal card. And this is just like a big sort of flip pocket that you could put something in. This is from the Irish Songbook. It has some lovely images. This is a vintage cigarette card. I'd never seen these before. These are bigger ones, and these are from this is from 1935. Some lined paper. This I've used from the top of a sheet of scrapbook paper. I always, if these strips are interesting, I always cut them off and just hang on to them. I thought that was a good way to use them up. Another journal card. Oh, and I forgot to mention also that some of the paper that I used in this book is also from some fabric dyed paper that I did. I did also do a little video on that some time ago. So I was really pleased with the way that looks, the colour. This is just a little tab that you could tuck something. That's just a little scrap of paper. And the last signature. This is just a book page from, I think it's about English towns. Small dictionary page. This is some currency that I have, and this is a Brazilian note which I've just folded around, and I put this in because it had a lovely tree in the background, and that's just washi taped in, so you could actually take that out again if you wanted to. Another little tuck. An envelope here. I didn't put anything in that. I've just done a little bit of embossing onto that. That's another Artie Mays tag. And then I just put an Ex Libris, I should say, plate in the back. And that's the back. So, and then the little ephemera pack that will come with this is just made from some Tim Holtz wallflower paper. And it's just like a little wallet, if you like. It's been all stitched. And on this side, just included a piece of a tag with some lace that you can include in your journal. A little envelope, and there's just a few little extra pieces in there that you can glue in to the book. And then on this side I made some more of these little journal cards with some of the botanical paper. These are just two little pieces that were left over, and just some extra journaling cards. I also used some seam binding. This is from a lady that a shop that I've found on Etsy, and the shop is called Splattered Ink, and she does some lovely hand dyed seam binding, and she's in the UK. So that's that. Then I'll just quickly go through the one that I made for myself. So this has the 1.5 inch spine, if I haven't already said that. I used some really grungy paper from the Tim Holtz Lost and Found paper pad, and I've inked that up even more. Left lots of threads hanging. I will be making some more of these Scholars Ledger books that I'll be making up for my Etsy shop, and I will be making another one of these soon in this size, so keep a lookout for the video. That'll be coming up probably in the next couple of weeks or so. I've used one of Nick's plates on the front here, which I've inked up a bit more, and this is just the sari silk closure. This is Tim Holtz, I think that's the memoranda paper again. So I've done a little pocket here with a couple of vintage tickets. That's a Tim Holtz photo strips. On this one I've done a few little collages where I've used a dictionary page and I've just sewn that through with some more of my strips of scrapbook paper. I'll just flick through this quickly. Some lined paper. Did a little bit of embossing on some of the pages. This is tea dyed parchment paper. This is from a very old book. I'll just quickly show you that. And it's from this. It's from the News of the World Household Guide from 1957. And it has lots of really cool ads in it. Like that one for Hartley's Marmalade. It's already, as you can see, the pages are really vintage. So I've been pulling a few sheets out from that. Really interesting book. I've read a few of the articles. I love some of the coloured ads that are in here. There was another one, I can find it. I can see it now. From Butlins. That was a holiday camp that was very popular in the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, I can't see that other ad, but anyway, so I'll be using that up in my books. Another one of these vellum window envelopes. This is some wallpaper. Sewed in a botanical page there. Got lots more to add to this book. That's tea dyed actually this is the fabric dyed parchment paper. So I'll probably try and do another video later on when I've filled it up a bit more. Flip out. It's a vintage playing card. This is from a children's book. This is a card that Turi sent me, so thank you, Turi. I did one of these sewn pockets here. It's an old time card, and this is a vintage envelope. This is from an engineering book that I have, which I love. I love all the drawings in that. This is a page from it's either maths or physics, and it's something that an old page from my son's school. Have an envelope there with a little bit of embossing, and that's another little tuck. And these just open at the top. This is some of the fabric dyed paper. So some of it came out with some little yellow specks on it. Just have a glassine bag there. That's with a vintage flashcard. This is some yellow parchment paper that I've tea dyed. Little pocket here with a vintage playing card. This is some vintage ledger paper that Renee sent me from GT Designs. Absolutely lovely. It's got a lot of writing on it. It's another card from Turi. Thank you, Renee, for the vintage paper. It's an old map page, bridge scoring sheet. This is a page from a French book. Some graph paper. This is a paper bag from the Wild Bean Cafe. That's a bag that my partner had something in. And there's a couple of vintage cards, playing cards in there. These are one of the little pockets that I made from some record sleeves. And then this is the last signature. This has another little collage with a dictionary piece which says adventure. That's another one of the flip pockets that I made. A little bit of embossing. This is another page that Churi sent me, so thank you very much for that. That's a business card. That is actually from splattered ink that I bought the seam binding from. Calendar page. This is another piece that I printed from the New York Public Library, which I sprayed again with the water and baked. That's another little piece that I've saved from a paper pad. That's from the old Curiosity Shop, which is Graphic 45. Another vintage playing card. And I love how the tea dyeing came out on that page. Another flip. And that's the back. So there we go. So I'll put the links, all the links down below to everyone that I've mentioned. And thanks very much for watching the video, and hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye.